Hello everybody, welcome back to Lupus Fitness 333. Today's lesson is Philosophical Talks. I believe is number 34. Yes, 34. And today we're going to be talking about limits and leveling up, okay? Now, the first thing is I wrote down learning teaches you how to speak to yourself, okay? So what does that mean? That means that every time you're in a situation where you're trying to learn something new, first you have to pay attention to what is it that you're focusing on, okay? If this ties into the last one, again, it's about knowing yourself. If you pay attention to how you're learning and how chronologically you're going forward with the learning process, it teaches you the areas of what you find important, okay? Now, sometimes that doesn't translate to whatever is it that you're trying to learn for, you understand? So some people go into learning something in the broad sense of it, meaning like they'll learn everything. All right, we'll put something here to represent that. But the point is that they're not focused. Their focus is not lasered. It's not pinpointed to an exact area that needs to be, traveled towards. So sometimes you just generalize your knowledge and you get nowhere near where you have to get. And you only find that out through error, okay? Which is part of the process of learning. You have to make mistakes for you to know where you're at so you can correct the path to get to where you're going, okay? That's number one. That's knowing your limits, all right? Number two, quiet the mind through increments of silence to gain clarity of thoughts. Okay, so the best way you could do this is simply, usually people who are in college or in university should know this well. Sometimes you get overwhelmed with the classes, with the curriculum, with whatever you're learning, right? And you're just, you're fried from all of it. So you go somewhere to de-stress. This is a crucial part of leveling up, okay? That's both tying into knowing your limits and leveling up. We're gonna put something right here to represent that for both. Knowing your limits and leveling up, okay? The other thing is, when you're there, when you're relaxing, usually your answers come to you, all right? The best way to do it, obviously, is in silence, because all the noise is gone. There's nothing to distract you. It's just you and your thoughts, okay? That's the best way to do it. Excuse me. The other way that people do it is obviously peer-to-peer reviews, or you're going around your friends. Let's say they're in your same classes, or they're learning the same thing you are, or they're at a higher level. You want to bounce ideas with them. They can give you the answer, but it's always better for you to discover it for yourself, because that way you cherish it more, you appreciate it better, and you know that you can rely on yourself all the time when that does happen. All right? Now, as far as being in silence, I know nowadays it's harder to do because we're constantly being distracted by our technology. Okay, you don't necessarily have to be sitting alone or being alone in your room or being alone in a library or anything like that. You could easily do it with like a walk or an exercise, maybe going to the gym, maybe going swimming, any physical activity that could help you pump blood into your body, thus going to your brain, helping you come up with the thoughts or the answers naturally. You understand? But the more silent it is, the better. You understand? Now, as far as that being a level up, I'm going to put something here for that. That's kind of like a eureka moment. That's you leveling up, okay? All right. Number 3, all right, it's be forgiving of self. Now, how does this tie into both limits and leveling up? Simply that there is a small culture that is called the hustle culture, and then there's the other one that is known as, how do I say it? Self-deprecating, or being hard on yourself. All right, I'm going to put 2 things here to represent that, okay? Now, the first thing, being hard on yourself is basically a form of self-hatred. Now, there's a specific way to do it, okay? You can be motivating yourself by saying that maybe somebody else is doing more work than me. This is fine, okay? But we're talking specifically about the one where you beat yourself up, where you're talking down to yourself, where you're saying really mean things to yourself, or calling yourself something that you know is not true, but you feel that way because you're not getting the results you desire. Okay? This is extremely detrimental to yourself. Why? Because, again, your brain doesn't process the words, it processes the feelings. Okay? And if the feelings are always stronger than the thoughts, that's just a fact. It's not, obviously, thoughts are more consistent, but feelings are more overpowering because it's charged. The thought is charged with an emotion that kind of, how do I say, it's like a rocket. It shoots up to a reality that you probably don't want. So that's why you want to kind of stop doing that. Okay. The other one is forgiving yourself for a mistake is showing self-care, is showing self-empathy, all right? You want to be treating yourself as though, how do I say, someone who just doesn't know. You don't want to talk down to them. You don't want to make it seem like, oh, it's so easy, why don't you get it? What you want to do is be more like, let me give you an example. All right, I'm going to put an image here to represent the generalization of what I'm saying. All right, basically, you want to kind of look at them like a baby. Like, all right, it's fine. Let's just get up. Let's just try it again and again and again. Okay? You don't want to talk down to them. You don't want to act like they're stupid, or why don't they get it, or just because you understand it doesn't mean that they'll understand it. Remember, everybody has their unique way of thinking, all right? Their unique way of interpreting the world. And you forcing the way that you think onto somebody else when they don't have the same experiences, they haven't gone through what you have, they don't understand things in the way that you see them, it's impossible. It's like asking somebody to read your mind. Nobody has that ability. And if they did, then you wouldn't have a problem with them. Okay? All right. Number 4. Face your nervousness and fears, for they are your leveling up battles. Okay? Right before you make the leap to the next level, there's always some doubt. There's always some feeling that makes you hesitant. Okay? This is your old self holding on for dear life, because you're going to jump, or you're going to step into a new identity, which is the one that was limiting you, because it didn't know what you didn't know, and this new one now is going to know what you didn't know. I know that sounds silly, but a lot of people experience it, especially people who have been in loops of knowing all the time. You understand? That within itself is a jail cell. I'm going to put something here that represents that, okay? You have to be accepting of the change, even if it's uncertain, even if it's a bit frightening, even if it is a bit, how do I say, nerve-wracking. Why? Because it's uncharted territory. You don't know what will come of it, and that's the beauty of it. Do not be afraid of the new. That's what you wanted in the first place. Okay, number 5, make things clear. Write down your issues and define your goals to laser your focus, all right? You have to know what you're shooting for all the time. It has to be the bottom line. All the time, every time. You're updating it, and not only are you updating it, but you're making sure you're on track all the time. Okay? Sometimes people make goals that are not clear, that are not defined, and again, just like earlier when I was saying, you start learning your path, but it's so broad, it's not specified, that you're learning all unnecessary information that doesn't really help you get to where you're trying to go. You understand? That's why that's critical. That has to be updated at least once a month or every 3 months, depending on how fast you're moving. Again, the pace is up to you. All right, number 6, your focus is what will become or comes to you. So sharpen your focus. I know we've talked about this before in other lessons, in other videos. So I'm going to put something here and I'm going to be very quick. It's not about what you think when you're conscious. It's always something that you think about that is charged with an emotion or comes with an experience that doesn't align with what you want. And sometimes that could derail you too much. Like, let's say you want to be a train conductor, but somebody says you don't even do that. Well, obviously you need to work your way towards that, but do not allow that to, how do I say, discourage you or make you feel defensive. Accept it as information and be like, okay, so what can I do to get me closer to that? I know that's a simple, very plain example, but that's what I'm going with, okay? I'm going to put something here to show that the person is being corrected and led to the right path. Number 7, use tools to help you move your body with your mind. Now this is an exercise of will and combining the mind with the body, okay? Why is this important? Because this is a practice that you're going to be doing on a daily basis, okay? It doesn't necessarily have to be exercise. It could be dance, it could be anything where your mind and your body are working in unison, okay? Thus helping you understand your limits and then growing from there, okay? If you can't do something, boom, now you know what you could work on. Again, if it aligns with your goals, then that's what you should do. You understand? Now let's go back to the analogy of the train conductor. What does the train conductor do most of the time? Kind of think of that and practice in that state of mind and that state of body. You understand? Thus, it'll help you get closer to what it is. I know, again, that's a very oversimplified example, but that's the ballpark of what I'm trying to get everybody to get to. All right, number 8, use fear and nervousness, or use negative emotions to propel you towards your goal. Most people use negative emotions as a deterrent, right? Or they use it as a means of self-hatred or worse, self-destruction. You don't want to do that. Emotions are just energy. If you think of it in those terms, we're going to put something here for both sides of the coin. Self-destruction, right? And how do I say it? Propelling yourself forward, okay? Probably should look that up. Probably increase my vernacular for that. The point is that there's both sides. You can use it either to destroy yourself or to improve yourself. Here, I'm encouraging you to use emotions to improve yourself, okay? Use anger to do action. Use nervousness to do action. Use sadness to ponder and kind of walk it off. You understand? To think of better options. Sadness usually is a pessimistic emotion. So use it to kind of prepare yourself for what could go wrong while covering those bases. And then when once the emotion is gone, you can continue on the path of things that could go right. You understand? I don't want to use hope because you're still walking the path, but use the emotion of sadness to prepare for the worst as an action to group it with the emotion, right? So there you're unifying both emotion and the action together in unison towards your goal. Okay. Number 9, make a plan. This is what we said earlier. Make a plan that constantly updates to help break limits and achieve your level up. Okay? We're going to put, again, an image here to represent that. Every day isn't a realistic thing because true discipline and true leveling up takes time. You should check it every month or 3 months. Okay, that's when significant changes start to reveal themselves, or people will reveal it to you. You understand? If you do it day by day, yeah, that's fine, but that really requires a lot of meticulous work, a lot of free time, maybe like an hour after the fact or before the fact, right? I don't know who has time for that. You know, if you do, perfect. Then that will be another part-time job. But again, you should probably update every month or every 3 months because you'll be able to see signs more consistently and more visually. You understand? And that's the right path. Okay? Well, not the right path, but that is a suggested path to help you towards where you want to go. Again, this is Philosophical Talks number 34, Limits and Leveling Up. Remember, Philosophical Talks is not just us talking about the philosophy of living a life, but us channeling our emotions and our actions to be one, right? Because my big emphasis is helping people, not only people who don't have ailments, but people who do have ailments to get out of those upside down triangles. You understand? Because it's a mental battle. And then people who have none of that, they still go through that. They still have to deal with the emotional and mental torment of not knowing where they're going or not knowing what to do. Okay? And again, thank you for watching. My name is Angel. This is Lupus Fitness 333. Please like and subscribe. Send this to whoever you think will benefit from this video. Goodbye.